Hey, you guys, Terra M here, Goddess Intuition. I hope you guys are doing fabulous, honey, because I am. Okay. So, okay, you guys, listen. Okay, I did a video the other day and I was talking about why we should have self love and why it's really important to have that. So, okay, when I do videos, I like to just bring them as a message. Whether it resonates with you or not, it may be for you, it may not be, whatever. But I know that there are conversations that has to be had, and it is what it is. And so you may not get all the time love and light, and oh, everything is just so wonderful. You know what I'm saying? No, it's not like that in reality. And obviously we're dealing with a lot of different things on a daily basis. And so I don't do the whole everything is love and light all the time, because it's not. Okay, so you may come across a video that is brutal and that is harsh. It could, I don't know, a lot of people are sensitive, you know what I'm saying? And you know politically speaking, a lot of people like, oh well, you have to be nice and say things and be calm. And I'm not a calm person. I'm very fiery. Okay, I'm an Aries. And so I'm about that fire. You know what I'm saying? And if I speak about anything, and especially it has something to do with whatever I'm passionate about, I'm going to be all over the place. As long as you get the message, then that's the most important. If you don't, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But I'm a complex person, as we all are. And you're not going to just see one side of me. I have many different sides to me that no one has never seen before. And so if you happen to come across the video and you see one of those personalities that I have, then um what can I tell you? I hope you're entertained. If you're watching for a show, I hope that you are entertained, because I don't do things to appease others. I don't live in anyone's box, because I don't have to. And it's just that simple. Um, I don't do things like other people. I have my own way of thinking. I have my own train of thought. And it has to be authentic. You know what I'm saying? When I bring these messages to y'all, it has to be authentic to me. I have to feel it. You know what I'm saying? So, however I deliver it, and I always say this, it's not about what I look like. It's not about what I have. Can you learn something from me? Because, see, I'm going a little rant. We live in a society, in a world, what have you, where, everything has to be done a certain way. You have to look a certain way. I'm not about that life. I do what I want to do as far as how I deliver things. And it's an artistry, whatever it is that I do, and you see it, it's an artistry to me. And so um it won't be limited, you know what I'm saying, by outside external values, or what perceived as values, because really it's your values, not mine. I have a whole nother system of how I do stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm a vessel. Okay. So let's just be clear with that. I'm a vessel, and I need to speak what I need to speak. And that's just the way it is. Okay. So let's just get right into it. Yes, we have to love ourselves. We must see value in ourselves. We must see self worth. However, we had to go through some kind of a phase in our life that we didn't feel any of that in order for us to feel it, right? So it's important that you get the lesson in any circumstance, in any situation. You know what I'm saying? It's not for us to just look at things at a surface base, take it for face value, and just that's just that. No, it's way deeper than that. Spiritually speaking, everything happened on a spiritual level before it even come here to physical. Everything has a process to it. And this is why I say when we have self-love, or when we say like, okay, what do I need to do to have that, or have that feeling for myself? Everything is a practice. You know what I'm saying? Everything is a practice. Excuse me. So, are you practicing self-love? How are you practicing self-love? Because before you get to the self-love, you have to actually dig deep and see what's really going on with you at a soul level. You know what I'm saying? And before we can scream and shout, I love myself and I have self love, it's like, have you done the work? And if you have done the work, from what angle? Because we could say all day that we have self love, but what lens are you seeing it through? You know what I'm saying? Are you screaming to the mountaintop that you have self love because you've been hurt so much? And that's your defense mechanism to keep moving forward? Or is it really genuinely coming from an authentic space, which is a healthy space, which is a space just saying, what is my truth, what am I here for, what is my purpose? I need to really find that and dig deep, because I really want to experience that and love myself. And not only love myself, I want to experience what self-love is, and what it feels like, and how I feel when I love myself, and how I feel when I feel good about myself. Not that fake shit, not the shit that you, oh, well, yeah, let me just get in front of a camera and, okay, yes, this is self love. Mm-mm. Let me tell you something. To get to certain levels, you're going to have to sacrifice. And with sacrifice, it's like a death. It's like cutting away at something. It's like pulling, detaching yourself. That's hard. Externally, we dealing with addictions. We dealing with self-inflicted pain that we cause on ourselves. We dealing with self-sabotage. We dealing with things that has happened to us earlier on in life. Shit that has been passed down to us through our bloodline. Generational curses. You know what I'm saying? And so when you think about that, you have to really ask yourself, are you ready to surrender? Because you can't just, oh yeah, I want to have self love and I don't have anything else that I need to work on. Because when you see one problem, or one, not even problem, when you see one area of your life that you need to improve on, there's a whole spectrum. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's, again, it's a process, but you have to start somewhere. Where are you going to start? You know what I'm saying? How are you going to start? What are you willing to eliminate out of your life to start that process? Or what are you willing to sacrifice within your own self? Because a lot of us have bad habits that we have, and we have had them for a long time. And yes, they have been built around, it's really self-destruction, because a lot of those has been built around insecurities, doubts, and everything else that we have externally and internally too. So you have to really sit down with yourself and stop being distracted. Move away from the TV, the phones, people, places that you know that is a part of your past, and you're trying to move forward. So are you going to be willing to sacrifice that? Because there has to be a give and take. There has to be a balance. Without balance, it's too much leaning on the scale. So how are you going to experience, you're going to miss out, or you're going to have some sort of lack, or you're going to have some sort of void to fill. And when we're dealing with the universe, you guys, the universe likes to fill void. So when you make a decision to really surrender, it's like, okay, what are you surrendering to? Higher source, the unknown, faith. That's really having faith, is stepping into the unknown, stepping into things that doesn't make any sense to the physical, but it's a burning in your stomach. It's a passion that you have, that you just know that you just have to do whatever it is that you need to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, speaking in terms of spirituality, when you are chosen, when you are ordained by the highest of the high, that's a big pill to swallow. Because not only you have a great responsibility, excuse me, um and you have power that comes along with that. So it's like, are you ready for, it's like you have to prepare your mind. And this is the best way I can describe it. We're experiencing right now the past, the present, the future, and current. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, dealing with the past, releasing things, reflecting on things, allow things to just be released and purged from us. And then here we have the present, the timeline that we're on right now. The present has everything to do with karma. I mean, the past does too, but the present has everything to do with karma, because if we live in the past, we are going to repeat the same process, and then we're going to still be in that loop, which will be the present, which will be adding on more karma. So, and then future, we're either going to be blocking things that are meant to come, or we're going to shift different timelines for the future, and then we'll be put back into the present and experience that loop and that cycle. And then current, you experiencing all at once. So you all in your head, you don't know about this what happened in the past. You don't know about what's happening in the future. You don't know what's happening in the present. So it's like it's all, you have to be able to get to yourself, figure things out, and put things in perspective properly. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we all sometimes, some of us all work with contrast. You know, obviously we've experienced all, you know, we've all experienced some kind of trauma. Ace Hood said it the best. He said, I've been traumatized, I've been ill advised. So before the trauma came, we experienced lies, manipulation, deceit, brainwashing. You know what I'm saying? From a child on up. From no, from a baby on up. And it's like um we learn these behaviors. They're not our true nature. You know, our true nature, and especially when we are dealing with innocence and childlike, you know, as a kid, it's innocent. It's pure. You know, it's pure energy when you're dealing with a child essence, a baby essence, you know, a toddler. And what do they say? I think it's from the ages 5 to, it's either 3 to 5, I believe, or 5 to 8. But however, the child is mentally being that their mind is being developed. And so if that child is around chaos and trauma, it's going to become normal to them. And this is going to be something that they are going to look for later on in life. So when we think about um, wanting to be successful and be prosperous, it's like, have you prepared your mind for that? What if you won $1 million today? How are you going to react? You know what I'm saying? Some of us deal with addictions. You know what I'm saying? Some of us have gambling issues, drinking matters, you know, substance abuse. What would you do if you won $1 million? You know, a lot of us say, "Oh, you know, I'm gonna go." Most of us say like we're gonna go buy this and buy that, and it's like still fulfilling a desire of ours that is something that we don't have, so we need to go run and go get. You know what I'm saying? And so even just working past issues, like as I stated before, you know, like when a child is brought up around trauma or just chaos, it becomes normal to them. So they're not able to go out in the world, and what you may see is like a healthy versus toxic, right? So when you have a person that has dealt with toxic and that's all they know, it's foreign when they come across someone or a situation that is healthy. They don't understand mentally. It's on a psychological level. They don't understand what's really happening because they've never experienced it before. You know what I'm saying? So it's like after moving away from the trauma, then you have to be taught to be willing to accept certain things. You know what I'm saying? And it's a process, because when we transition from one area and then we move on to the next, it's like a death. And in the tarot, it's the Scorpio is the death card. You know what I'm saying? It's like cutting away. You know, the Scorpio is able to, I think, what, cut his stinger, and then he's able to regrow it. So that's what we're doing in our life when we're going through a transition. We're cutting away, and then we're able to have a reset. And that's us on an energetic level going to another timeline, going into different new energies. and moving away from the old, or releasing the old, because energy never dies, energy never die. So when you do release energy, or that energy that does not serve you anymore, because most of the time it's seen as toxic. But let me just say this, and this is where like the dark side of us come into play. And oh, what's perceived as the dark side is really, the dark is just that, it's like the absence of light, that's all. You know what I'm saying? Just like you have the light and there's no dark. So it's just that polarity, you know what I'm saying? And so when you have someone that has dealt with something deep and dark, they may perceive it as it being bad, but in reality, it's like, it's not bad. You know, on a spiritual level, bad and good does not exist. Um, and so we experience bad and good opposition here in physical form. We experience polarity and duality here in physical form. This is when you have the feminine energy and then you have the masculine energy. When you look around at nature, nature will explain it all. And so when you look outside and you see the trees, and then you see like the flowers, and everything has it's a divine source, and it has um male masculine energy, and then it has feminine energy. And so when you have those energies and they combine, then you have a third energy. So this is why they say, 1 plus 1 is 2, but 1 plus 1 is really 3, because you have two energies that are combining and they're forming together. And then you have a third energy, and so that third energy is, it's like multiply, and then it's able to produce or procreate. You know what I'm saying? And so just think about that on an energetic level. This is what's happening in our bodies, in our cellular body, in our psyche. You know what I'm saying? When we have dealt with things or have been traumatized, we hold on to that, and then it multiplies, and it reproduce on its own, the cells in our body, to always have that to experience. You know what I'm saying? Or always look for. Have you ever like been around a person and it's always like they just always about drama? Anything, things could be going well, and then it is just something that it just come about with this person. They always about drama. That's because they don't mentally have it, the capacity to understand that, excuse me, that's all they know. So you can't take a person that's negative and put them in a positive setting, because they're going to self-sabotage. They're going to self-inflict some kind of pain, because that's all they used to. Or they're going to create drama, and for they're able to receive the feeling that they need to feel, right? And it's on a deeper psychological and spiritual level, but um this is how it multiplies in our body. And it has everything to, you think people are just walking around and they're just bitter and mad and angry. No, it's different energies that's stuck, that they haven't released. It's things that is passed down um through childbirth. When a woman gets pregnant, whatever her state of mind is in, and she carries that baby and she has that baby, it's like, okay, she's passing down whatever she's feeling on a cellular level. She's passing it down. You could break it down to a science. She's passing it down to her child. And so you see when children um get, start to get older, start to talk, you could begin to see different characteristics, like, oh, or you could begin to see different things. This is where that comes in to play. You know what I'm saying? You thinking um or just people walking around every day, you thinking a person just bitter and angry, and you tell them like, hey, smile, or whatever. And on an energetic level, that person may has been uh in their curses, you know what I'm saying? It's like a curse. That person on an energetic level may have been passed down something, and they don't know how to release, or they've been carrying that for so long. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, whatever your mother didn't deal with in a past life, then it's passed down to you. So then you have to take upon it and deal with it. And that's how it really works. So this is why I believe in transmuting energies, and like going back to the past or going back to a thought that I've had, and then you're able to transmute those energies and release them. And excuse me if it seems like I'm all over the place, but I'm trying to explain to you guys, this is how it works. You're not just talking to someone that's angry or that's just bitter. It's been passed down to them, along with karma and things, that they may have caused upon themselves. And it's deep. Um, is really deep, and this is why I say it's way more than just having self-love. It's like you have to really get down to the root, and this is where family come into play. This is where parents, ancestors, past um past energies and things of that nature. This is where that comes into play. you know you see a lot of families today, they're not the same anymore. It's like when the matriarch of the family passes on, it's like everything falls apart. That's because that was the matriarch of the family. So after, and it's most likely like, like the grandmother, and when the grandmother or that strong patriarchal, or not patriarchal, excuse me, matriarchal passes on, or not even pass on, I don't say that, transition on, then it's like everything goes haywire. You know what I'm saying? That's because she was the one to keep things together. And she the one most likely was the one with the wisdom and the knowledge, and you know what I'm saying? And so when people had their issues, they went to her. You know what I'm saying? So, and every family has that, and it seems like when one, it passes, they it's like passing the torch. But you have to get to the root of your problems. And it's seen, mental health in the Black communities are not talked about, because it's like everyone wants to have this light that they don't need any help, that there's nothing going on. And as we all know, in the Black community, there's, even in the Black families, there's a lot of different secrets and different things that has taken place that people don't talk about. They just sweep it underneath the rug, and this is why we're not able to get to our issues and deal with them on a healthy level, because people don't want to face that and talk about it for whatever reason. you know People know how to act crazy, shoot, fight, but you can't talk about your issues. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? That, and then, as you get older, people grow apart, and they wonder why we're not able to come together properly. That's because you got people that's holding on to pain, guilt, shame, jealousy, um, stories, secrets, and those turn into curses. You know what I'm saying? If they're not dealt with on a proper level. Um, and let me just say this, just to add contrast. There's When we go through different things, it's to strengthen us, And this is how we have to look at it, you know, and it seems like it's so difficult, and it is and it's hard because it's like, you experience something very traumatic, but it helps you to learn how to fight back. It helps you to learn how to fight those battles that's going to come later on in life. But when you turn away from your issues, your insecurities, your shame, your habits, whatever, it takes on a different life of its own. And then when you look up, it takes over, and it's like you're not the driving force no more behind the vehicle. Your body is the vehicle, right? Your soul is your soul, and then you have your body. You know what I'm saying? Which is physical. Your soul is spiritual, on a spiritual level, and on many different dimensions, right? And your body is here earth physical. And so when you have allowed your demons, and they turn into demons, take over, you're not able to be who you are at a soul level. It's like you want to take your physical and combine it with your higher self and your soul, your intuition, so you're able to operate here in physical form at a balanced level. But you're not able to do that because you have allowed your demons to take over, and you're supposed to get into control and face your demons and have them work for you instead of against you. See, and our demons, you know, and I don't even really like to use the word demons, but just to break it down and, um, so you guys can understand better, our demons are just our defense mechanisms that we formed.